dual track, different set of rules for certain people than for others. It frankly should not matter whether you are running for president or running late to a kid's ball game. The same rules ought to apply to everyone.
So that's how it went for Trey Gowdy grilling the AG Loretta Lynch as the investigation of the server continues for Hillary Clinton and what Gowdy calls a two-tier justice system. Congressman Gowdy with me now from the Hill. And sir, welcome back here to America's Newsroom. This is kind of how it went yesterday for several hours. Listen.
I, as Attorney General, am not able to provide any further comment on the facts or the substance of the investigation.
Do you agree with Director Comey's conclusion about that?
Again, I would have to refer you to Director Comey's statements for the basis for his recommendation. Again, I would refer you to Director Comey for any further explanation as to the basis for his recommendation.
Well, I don't know how many times it was, but it was a lot. What did you learn?
Nothing. It was a total waste of time and a total disservice to my fellow citizens. Prosecutors have a lot of power in our justice system, Bill, a lot of power. And it's not asking too much to ask prosecutors to explain their charging decisions or their decision not to charge. She could have answered every one of those questions. She just chose not to. There's no legal prohibition. There's no grand jury prohibition. There's no rule that doesn't allow her to answer the questions. She just chose not to.
Yeah, why?
Well, I'll tell you why.
Yeah,
because what we asked her to do is apply the facts to the law. And it's really not that complicated. You take the facts, as Director Comey gave them to us, and as he found, you apply the law, which is public and everybody knows what it is, but the facts are embarrassing for her presidential candidate. So discussing the facts necessarily leads to more questions like, well, if you had all those good facts, why didn't you indict? She doesn't do well in that conversation. So your
suggestion in that answer is that she's protecting Hillary Clinton. True?
That is the only reasonable interpretation of what we witnessed yesterday. There's no other reason for a detached, neutral attorney general not to say, this is the law, these are the facts, we applied them, and this is the result we got. Jim Comey did it last week. I disagree with his conclusion, but at least give the man credit for going through the analysis. She wouldn't even go through the analysis.
Now, what do you think of this airplane meeting with Bill Clinton now? Do you see it differently or not?
I just think it's terrible optics. I have no reason to impeach her when she says they discuss grandkids. That's a long talk about grandkids, 30 minutes. Golf, maybe, I get, but grandkids, that's a long time to talk about. But it looks terrible.
Well, does it give you the sense, sir, that this meeting was made public in order for her to come before your committee and sidestep any questions about the evidence?
No, sir. What it gives me is a reason to understand those people who think we have a two-tier justice system, because poor folk do not get to sit on the plane, or the spouses of poor folks do not get to sit on the plane with the Attorney General for 30 minutes. So you and I, our spouses or our relatives would not be able to sit on the plane with Loretta Lynch for 30 minutes. But if you're powerful and you have a position of influence and you have the right last name, then you can do things the rest of the world can't do, and that's why people don't have confidence in the justice system, and it is not a political issue to me. I've spent 16 years talking to people who never once wanted to discuss politics. It's facts, it's law, it's justice. And she turned all of that upside down. It was a completely unforced error. I don't know what they talked about, but the appearance is dreadful.
Two more questions quickly here. You wanted justice to look into whether or not she lied before Congress last fall. That's not going to happen, is it?
I think Chairman Goodlatte and Chairman Chaffetz both referred the matter to the FBI because they asked them to, and I think the FBI will investigate.
But they work for Loretta Lynch, don't they?
Yes, sir, they do. Yes, sir, they do.
So it's not going to happen, is it?
Well, I don't want to say Comey won't look into it. I think I can predict the outcome, but perhaps he'll surprise me.
Final question. Is this now left to voters to decide about all this?
It's always been up to voters a little bit, Bill, for this reason. You just referenced comments she made before a committee of Congress. I detailed last week a half-dozen false comments she made to the public. It's not a crime to lie to the public. It's not a crime. But voters can certainly factor that in, and I'll conclude with this. I don't think voters expect us in politics to be right all the time. I think they do expect us to be honest all the time. And when you have that many demonstrably false statements that she's made to the public, yeah, I think the jury, the voters are going to factor that in.
Trey Gowdy, thank you for your time.